Welcome back, everybody. I listen to the Discus Collective podcast. I'm your host, Warren, here with Daryl and Glenn again. And today we are just going to wrap up, I suppose, WrestleMania weekend, our thoughts and opinions, little review, recap, whatever you want to call it, of WrestleMania Night 2. And yeah, before we jump into it, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Really helps us out. And then wherever you're getting your podcast, follow there. So to get into it, WrestleMania Night 2 didn't have the kind of as much of a weather issue as they did the night before, so started on time, perfect, not a bother. I was still excited for this, but again, if you have a 2-night event, you will be more excited before the first night. That's just natural. So the show opened with Randy Orton against the Fiend, standard singles match. Orton taking Undertaker's, I suppose, longest entrance kind of thing going on there. Stroll down to the ring, not a bother to him, and wearing white, looked deadly in fairness. And got in the ring. They showed a really good promo package then of the Fiend and Orton's feud, and then they had a joint Jack in the Box, which Alexa Bliss opened, and the Fiend rose out of it. Really cool image. The red light actually works more outdoors than it does when you're watching it on, say, the Thunderdome and this and the other. So it actually looked really well. And then the Fiend obviously started off the match, diving clothesline off the top of the thing, whopper. The match itself, as it was going, I was thinking, Jesus, this is going to be actually really good, because they were laying into each other. They had the table spot, and then obviously Bray didn't even sell it. He just got up and mandible clawed Randy, stuff like that. It was great for what it was at first, and then the finish happened. So we had Alexa Bliss doing like a Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice kind of thing, where she's pumping a load of black goo, and she distracts Bray. He's kind of putting his hand out like almost like, oh, I need the Hellbar. Eats an RKO and gets pinned clean. It's just frustrating because a man who's been burned alive, this, that, and the other, impervious to pain, is able, like, he didn't sell getting backdropped onto the table, and then gets put down for an RKO, one RKO, and the crowd just weren't having it. They just booed it out of the building. A real shame for the ending, but the only thing I suppose you can hope for now is what's going to happen with Alexa Bliss and the Fiend. But what's your thoughts on that, Daryl?
I was very annoyed with it. But I know we were talking earlier on, and I have a hopefully a great solution that's kind of put my mind at ease. I think we might make a little video on it or something like that, or whatever. I'm not going to go into depth about it now. But what I'm thinking now, I don't mind it too much. If they go down the route, I think they might go down.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not gonna bury him like that after so long of a build up. There's more to it than this. I know we're just annoyed at the fact that the Fiend lost, but I think there's more of a story to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all right. Wanted more, but
yeah,
what can you do?
Yeah, it wasn't to be. Glenn, what's your thoughts on this one then?
I had just a fucking couple of questions, lads. Who makes the booking decisions?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I need to find them, and I need to hit them with a large salmon, right? I had so many fucking questions as to like why and how, and just like the logic was just gone on that one, lads. I was unimpressed. Like,
yeah,
you know, of all the matches to cut short, it felt like, anyway, you know, like we talk about our abrupt endings. Of all the matches to cut short, this one gets cut short. Didn't have any cinematic gimmick matches. That's fine, obviously, but like put this match on the same comparative with the Fiend's last work with Cena, and I know that was a big fucking, you know, gimmick match, you know, with all the stuff that they did there. But just like Randy Orton wins again, like this feels like 2011 or something. Like it's just
upsetting, really.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I wish they could have done more.
That's the thing. When Daryl texted me earlier, though, he touched on, as he said, we won't go into it, but the one phrase that he said to me that stuck out, and already I'm like, do you know what? Whatever happened at that Mania, don't care. I'm on to Raw and everything. Like, Daryl turned around and said, maybe it's not Bray Wyatt is the Fiend. Maybe they're looking for a host. And just when he said that, I was like, oh, I like that. We won't go too much in depth in it because we will do a video on it. I think it'd be better to do a video on it. But again, if
like
you want to,
like a symbiote,
yeah, exactly like that almost. Yeah,
ooh,
yeah,
it's kind
spicy.
of like, but yeah, it sounded good anyway. Like if you want, you can touch on it a bit more if you want, Daryl. It's up to you.
Yeah. So basically, with the way the Undertaker isn't around anymore, he's not going to be main event in WrestleMania. Anything along the lines of that. And he was a massive attraction. He was that, what we call a paranormal kind of being.
Yeah.
WWE want that. It's an attraction. It's a money maker. They want that. They can't have Taker doing it anymore. And Kane's gone as well. So they need it. And they don't want to have the same situation where Undertaker or whoever they have the next person is going to die and they're going to try and reincarnate something again. So I think they might be going down the lines of the Fiend is just an entity. And at the minute, it started off possessing Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt brought it back because he was so good and he's so strong and this, that, and the other. But now they've seen Bray's weak now. He's not strong enough to contain the Fiend. And Randy Orton has beaten him numerous times.
Yep.
And now that's where all the black gunk is coming from. It's starting to slowly possess Randy. Yeah. And I think Alexa's got something to do with it. And I think that's why she's just like, no, he has to face the Fiend basically one more time to basically transition.
Yeah.
And Alexa's obviously got something to do with it bigger. I reckon we will see Bray Wyatt just come back as normal. And I genuinely think the Fiend will be Randy Orton going forward. And I think at every WrestleMania or for the next few years, it'll change from time to time on somebody. And then you're going to have a barn burner of a match every year. You're never going to have to worry about the wrestler getting old or anything. It's just going to be an entity. And if someone gets injured, straight away you can come up with the storyline that's just going to flip the Fiend into somebody else.
That would be amazing. Can you imagine he puts the mask on Orton rolls and rides, and Wyatt looks mad spooked and scared, like he's just missed a year or two of his life.
Exactly.
And then Orton's becomes like Randy Orton, leader of Firefly Funhouse, and he's all like, and he has his own version of the puppets and the gimmick is reincarnated for him, where he has the goody two shoes kids entertainer side followed by the dark possessed demon side, and then you have Wyatt figuring out how the fuck he's going to be a wrestler again. That would be unreal, man. That'd be class.
And I think with as well, Alexa Bliss kept on touching on Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, is going to be no more. The Legend Killer is no more. And that, I think, is swaying to, Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, is going to be no more. It's going to be Randy Orton, the Fiend, for the next world.
Yeah, I love it. I love the idea, and I really hope it goes down a road like that. It's almost like, as we were saying earlier, me and Daryl were chatting, there's like, it's something that it's literally in front of your face. You could do it perfectly. Now, sometimes when you have something that good, it's almost like WB are like, that's too good. We'll do it this way. And it's our ways, but hoping it even gets even a sliver of what you said there, it'd be amazing, because it completely take away what happened at WrestleMania and all the boos and this and that. You'd be like, wow, so it was building to this instead. So here's hoping anyway. But whopper idea. We'll do a video on that anyway as we are chatting. But we'll move on. We'll kind of steamroll through this. There's not a lot to be said for most of the matches, to be honest. So Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler is up next. They defended their tag titles against Tamina and Natalya. One of the longer matches of the night. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retained in a fairly janky match. It wasn't too bad. It was actually better than I expected. But even at that, nothing to write home about. I have no real thoughts on it, to be honest. The only thing I thought of, maybe they should have just taken the belts off Jax and Shayna, have some sort of even breakup between them. And Reginald wasn't even there, which was mad.
Wow.
So crazy.
And he was in the picture as well. So
yeah, a bit of a mad one. But Daryl, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, because I'll just start slating. So I'll just pass that on.
What about you, Glenn? You going to start slating?
It's too easy to work off the whole, let's pick on the women's tag team division again. For the match we got and the quality it was in line with what those women can do. Thanks for coming on to WrestleMania card. Shite booking. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on. Hit the nail on the head there. Next match, as we were saying before we came on, the reason why I feel anyway this card was a bit disjointed is because the crowd were booing the whole end of the Fiend and Randy Orton thing. Then they continued not enjoying Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler match after that. What they should have done is switch things around, maybe have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go second. They didn't, but they went on tour anyway. So Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with Logan Paul in his corner. Decent singles match. Nothing outrageous happened. It wasn't like, as I said, their kind of matches in NXT, which were borderline 5-star classics. It did what it had to do. We got like some great spots, great moments. Obviously, both of the guys have chemistry to burn, really, you know what I mean? And then Logan Paul ended up beating the Stunner, which got a really good pop. So, it was all right. It wasn't to their level. It was fairly short as well. But again, it did what it had to do. It kind of got the fans back involved then. leading for through the rest of the card kind of thing. But yeah, I thought it was all right though. What about you, Daryl?
Yeah, I thought it was really good, pretty good as well. I would have liked to have seen it getting a little bit, say, 5 more minutes into it.
Yeah.
It's like the entrances and the end of it got more time than the actual match itself.
Yeah.
But the spots they did in were great. The two of them looked great. But I was hoping for a little bit more to come out of that storyline with Sami Zayn. But
yeah, I don't know if it's
match overall was actually good.
Yeah, it was decent. Yeah, like I'm not sure if that story with Sammy's finished now or what's the crack. He still obviously hasn't shown his documentary yet, so hopefully we'll get something cool now on SmackDown. Glenn, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, only a couple of minor points. It was too short. That's the first. The lads, like, I know that we've seen them do better in the ring together and in the ring with others and stuff. So obviously I would have liked to have gotten them more. But I think Daryl touched on it more. The reason that like all the matches felt very short and rushed to a degree is probably because of how long some of the entrances were. Like, you know, there's a common theme running throughout the night, which is where did all the time go? Because none of the matches were like, with the exception of 2, there was no particularly long drawn out matches, you know. So the only other thing to say is I hope they get a trilogy. That's a Mania trilogy, hopefully one day for the belt. Give justice where Kevin Owens had it taken off him before when he was supposed to main event it with Jericho for the Universal title, and then Goldberg stepped in.
That would be cool, actually.
So it'd be nice.
Another quick shout out to Kevin Owens' cool t-shirts. He has a different KO Mania t-shirt every year, and this year was KO Mania 5, the KO powers explode, so it's pretty cool. Macho Man and thing, but they just had Kevin Owens heading them. So move on then, and it was another title match. We had Sheamus against Riddle, US title match. This was hard hitting. We all expected it to be hard hitting. 2 boys just going after it. I mean, they went out and they absolutely killed it, to be honest. One of the matches of the night, in my opinion, anyway. And then like, what was it? The finish as well. Obviously, they were trying to do a white noise off the top rope at one stage, and Sheamus kind of lost the balance. Fair balls to him, still hold on to Riddle, didn't drop, nothing like that, kind of protected him, still hit the white noise. But then the finish, then moonsault into the bro kick. My God, what an image! Caught him sweet as well. Absolutely split the lip on. But yeah, really good match. Sheamus wins the US title at WrestleMania. So yeah, happy days. It kind of like one of the lads actually on Instagram, was it Wrestling Blog UK? He was saying to me that it feels almost backwards, that maybe Riddle should have, like, Sheamus should have held the belt leading into WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? And then Riddle should have won at WrestleMania. And I was like, yeah, actually, that's a good show. Either way, great match though. Yeah. What's your thoughts there, Daryl?
Yeah, I want to say nearly match of the night. Yeah, like that kind of botch, kind of white noise, but he ended up pulling it off. And then Riddle's kind of jackhammer, little whoopsie daisy. But the strength of Riddle, like, kind of blew me away. Like, I know he's strong, but my God, like, Sheamus is no small man.
No.
Like, yeah, it just, I don't know. I look at Riddle now a lot differently. He was great, but seeing him in that match with him was amazing. I just wish he changed his kind of look, like, put more clothes on him. But yeah, overall, it was great. Riddle looked absolutely phenomenal, and so did Sheamus. Like, what age is Sheamus now?
44, I think, or something. Yeah,
chap, unbelievable.
Yeah, doing some of the best work of his career, actually. Glenn, what's your thoughts on it?
Like that, with the exception of the couple botches that we saw, it was very good. I just like that kind of left me wanting a bit more. It's one of those situations, much like what happened with Rollins when he lost against Orton and even the other night. It doesn't sometimes matter if your Mania moment is a loss. Like an iconic moment like the upside down broad kick with the moonsault, like that's just it's going to stand the test of time, you know. So it makes you want to watch more of them and get more time with them on TV and at Mania, and that's ultimately what the whole thing is meant to do, you know, make stars out of people. So both lads look great. Great to see Sheamus hold the belt again. Hopefully that elevates the status of it, and maybe they keep their feud going. Even if not, like, it's okay. Sheamus is a hard hitter, so whoever's going to take the belt off him next is going to have to match his style, you know. So all around enjoyable, you know.
Yeah, savage.
Does that spot be Shawn Michaels and Shelton Benjamin?
No, I don't think so. It was great. It was great. So next up, we had Nigerian drum fight for the IC title, Apollo Crews against Big E. Built as a really good feud. We always sing the praises of it now every week on SmackDown, and we are hoping for a bit bit of a more of a, what would you say, like a show stealer, I suppose you could say, or just a really good match because we didn't get at Fastlane. Unfortunately, we didn't really get it here tonight or last night either. The match itself, it was set up obviously a load of drums, cymbals, all sorts, kendo sticks outside the ring. The start of the match, banging. My God, both of the boys jumping out there getting the kendo sticks, and even like the likes of Big E trying to hit him with the gong, stuff like that. It was deadly. Like they started off really, really strong, and then it was like, all right, just have a normal singles match, boys, jump back in the ring. It was like they just disregarded the fact that it was basically a no-holds barred match, and it just sucked the life out of the crowd. We had the re-debut, I suppose you could say, of Dabba-Kato or Babatunde, whatever you want to call him, from NXT, Raw Underground, stuff like that. He jumped in almost. It reminds me of almost like the Truth Commission from the late 90s a bit, and he hit the Samoan Spike, which was deadly. Nice little nod to Umaga as well. Yeah, smacked the Samoan Spike, and then Apollo Crews picks up the victory. We all wanted, I think, Apollo Crews to win anyway because of the work he's been doing lately. It's just a shame that obviously Big E is the hometown boy and it sucked the life out of the crowd then going into the next match. But not bad, but I'm still waiting for these guys to have a 4-star, 5-star match. Do you know what I mean? They feel like they can do it.
Yeah.
What about you, Daryl? What's your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a good match. I don't think they got enough time. Maybe the spots that in it I thought were great. I'm glad Apollo won it. I think this is Big E's chance now. I know I touched on it before. I think Big E now is going to have a world title, whether he gets drafted to Raw or whatever. I think he's going to have a world title. Yeah, 6 months maybe. I think that's why he's kind of dropped the title now to Apollo. And the two of them, the look at him, my God, absolutely $1 million. Like Apollo looks fucking amazing, and Big E, absolute unit.
Yeah,
like, two of them look great.
Yeah, they really do. And as you said, Big E now to the main event picture, hopefully now within the next few months.
Like there's not a whole lot you have to do with them to actually, you don't have to change the look of it. Like their main event material looking now.
Yeah, you're dead on. Yeah, they actually are. They're basically made men there. They just need that final push now into the main event spot and let them do what they can do. Glenn, what's your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, taking the words out of my mouth, just wish they got more time. Match was hard hitting for what it was. And I think if you had a double the output and double the time a little bit, maybe you would have got more. Maybe it's also because the dudes are so fucking jacked that they can't actually, put on a 20-minute epic. Maybe. Look, I don't know, but, obviously it again leaves you wanting more. And I think Mania is supposed to be the time you pull the trigger on all these things. So Apollo winning the title is good, but I definitely think I could have done with, like a bigger showcase from them both. So
yeah.
Look forward to seeing what they do going forward. Like you said, maybe in the next few months we'll see what happens.
Yeah, true. Hopefully, anyway. We'll move on then. Co-main event: Rhea Ripley against Asuka, Raw Women's Championship. Ripley had the big entrance. Actually, so did Apollo. Wale sang Apollo out, and was it Ash Costello from New Year's Day or something sang Ripley out. She didn't sound all that great, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Like we've all been to gigs and stuff like that. It could be because it's an outdoor arena. Usually when you go to gigs at Slane or Croke Park, the sound is a bit shot. Do you know what I mean? It's not supposed to be broadcast across all that. So maybe it was that. But either way, cool entrance though. Overall, great pyro and stuff. It just suited it. Yeah. The only issue I had with this match is the crowd, as I said, with Big E, they're all Big E fans, this, that, and the other. Sucked the life out of them with the finish to the last match. Then this match comes on, so they're not really with it. And then, although the match started off really well with Rhea Ripley and Asuka, and they had some great moments, they went more of a knockdown, drag-out fight, that kind of sluggish, kind of hard-hitting match, almost akin to a Sheamus match I was saying before we came on. And it just didn't resonate with the crowd. They weren't having it. Whether or not they were tired, bored, I don't know. Maybe it was the rain as well. There's a few factors, I suppose you could say, but the crowd just weren't with it. I feel if you had to rejig some of these matches around, you would have got a better reaction overall. But delight for Rhea Ripley picking up the win. I think you could have actually just had her go in and squash Asuka, because Asuka has done literally nothing for the past few months. It would have been perfect to see Ripley just come in, dominate Asuka, beat her, and then everyone almost shocked, like, Jesus, she just bet the Empress. And then Asuka has to come back story then, maybe during the year or next year, something like that. But not a bad match, it just felt a bit off with the reactions, I think, as well. What's your thoughts, Daryl?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, it just seems a little bit bland, and I think it's just because of how short of time they had to build the story. I think if that had been the first match of the night, it might have got a better reaction. I don't think the fans were too impressed with a few of the matches maybe before this, and said it's kind of just sucked the life out of them. They weren't really invested in it that much. I don't think it should have been the second last match of the night, but overall they did look good. Great to see the belt on Ripley, and now Bianca Belair as well.
Yeah,
it's great for the women's division. So yeah, it's not a bad match overall, but I think just the storyline just kind of dragged it down a little bit.
Yeah, I think what we can all agree on, I think anyway, before I get your thoughts, Glenn, is that this whole weekend, the WrestleMania, we did get a lot of fan service with titles changing hands, with matches. Like, for example, we're going to move on to the main event in a sec. Like, that match killed it and stuff like that. But yeah, we got a lot of fan service this weekend, so that's one thing we can't complain about, I suppose. What's your thoughts on Ripley and Asuka, Glenn?
Yeah, I think I'll mirror the sentiment from you lads. I just felt it was in the week of wrestling we got, with all the variety of matches we got. This one was the standout vanilla match for all the title matches that were in it. Like, you know, there was already enough, you know, no stipulation singles matches, and then there was also already enough kind of gimmick matches. So it was very hard to fit this in. And as far as women's main event caliber matches, this one had to follow Banks and Belair. I think due to crowd exhaustion and everything, they should have this should have been the match to get its time clipped, not because both the performers can't go, but more so because their moveset and, like you said, the knockdown drag out style that they both bring to the table, it was murdering the pace of the show. If they had a half the time, or even, like you said, maybe even made it squash, I genuinely think that would have fit the picture better, and it would have built the crowd slightly. It like the pacing was all off. I think if they had put them on first, immediately follow it with the women's tag team match, then you could have built it. You could have built the rest of the card, because, like, as we discussed time and time again, you go on first, you go on last. Yeah. Speaking of going on last.
Yeah, true. Nice segue there. I was going to say, so on to the main event then. We had Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan, Universal Championship. This was the match you were looking forward to. I think everyone was. Obviously, Edge, kind of redemption arc, I suppose you could say, coming back into the main event picture. Obviously wins the Royal Rumble. Reigns doing the work of his career right now, and Daniel Bryan obviously having a bit of a resurgence as well lately. There's actually not enough time to talk about. Like, we have 10 minutes left on this. There's not even enough time to talk about how good this match was. It's up there probably in my top 3 triple threat matches for titles, like that kind of thing. Like, my number 1 is still going to be Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Benoit from WrestleMania 20. But this one, I think, could be number 2. This was just everything worked. Do you know what I mean? We had Jey Uso getting taken out and coming back in, like, it felt like hours later. We had a great double, what's it called, a crippler crossface spot as well, with the bar of the chair, and the both lads then, Edge and Daniel Bryan, headbutting each other. It was basically like the sheer desperation to win. They brought everything to the table. They literally, and then the likes of Paul Heyman on the outside, his facial expression, stuff like that. Everything worked. The commentary as well. Fair balls to the boys. I know sometimes, like, we give them a lot of stick, but just everything. Just, you couldn't ask for a better main event, really. You couldn't, and especially how mishmash the card ended up being, like, especially with the crowd. The crowd were all over this one from start to finish. The near falls were amazing. The wrestling was amazing. The storytelling was amazing. The spots were amazing. There's literally nothing else I could say, to be honest with you. I would have loved to see Edge win. I did pick Reigns to retain, because it's almost that kind of, right, you brought us through this pandemic era, so fair balls to you. But what's your thoughts on it, Daryl?
Yeah, amazing. I really thought Edge was going to take it, but yeah, overall the match was just absolutely phenomenal. And that point where they had Roman Reigns in a double submission, like, just unbelievable. Built him like an absolute shithouse. One funny thing I'm gonna say is when Roman Reigns and the boys are coming down with the flowers around their neck. What was the story? It looked like Roman Reigns had a load of chilies around his neck.
Oh yeah, it's like they're almost like stones or something. He got them off Affit and Seek. It's like stones instead of flowers. He wears stones because he's the chief or something mad like that. It's mad looking.
I initially thought they were teeth. I was like, what fucking animal is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, overall amazing. Yeah, great match. Great way of ending the Mania as well. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah. What about you, Glenn? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, like, for the quality of the match we got, it didn't matter who won. Like, I don't care about the continuity or the booking afterward. Watching that, I was nearly happy that it was over, because if they had had a misstep at any point following where the match ending was, I probably would have been like, that would let it down. And with the day that was in it having a little bit more let down, so night 1, and obviously then the takeover that we got the previous days, I was happy where this one ended, when it ended, and why it ended. And fair fucks to the lads for giving us the match that we got, because it was stellar. It was absolutely stellar. Definitely deserves a top spot in your triple threat distance.
Yeah, big time. Like, I can't wait now. Like, I think, again, stuff like that, like, when you get a match that good as well, you could do a whole video on that match. You know what I mean? You could do a whole episode of a podcast on that, because just, it was amazing, start to finish, bell to bell, even before bell to bell, just the entrances as well. Daniel Bryan got his yes chant, Edge got the pop of the night, and Reigns got booed out of the building. Obviously, as you're saying, because the whole heel thing, he always gets booed anyway. But then they finally pulled the trigger on pulled him heel, turned him heel during the whole Thunderdome era, and now out in front of the fans, he's going to get that reaction. So amazing show. Anyway, like overall, the show was actually really good. And then if you include obviously night one as well, a fantastic weekend of wrestling, fantastic week of wrestling. It felt special. Do you know what I mean? It did feel special. It almost felt like a light at the end of the tunnel moment, I feel. Obviously, the past year and a bit, it's been hard for everyone in general, all over the world. But I mean, when you see things like this, like for example, it like WrestleMania is the World Cup, this World Series, it's the Stanley Cup, it's all these things put together. Do you know what I mean? And as a wrestling fan, it was amazing to see it finally back with fans there. Loved it, and yeah, looking forward to Raw now tonight. See what kind of goes on. If we're gonna get some call ups, this, that, and the other, any sort of re-debuts, returns, this, that, and the other. So yeah, pumped. But yeah,
interesting one.
Yeah, really well. Yeah, but overall, that was our WrestleMania Night 2 recap, thoughts, and this, that, and the other on it. We enjoyed it overall. Yeah, there was a few few falters on the way, but yeah, it wasn't too bad actually. And then if you include Saturday, great weekend of wrestling. So before we sign off, just want to say thanks very much for listening. If you're listening on your podcast platforms, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. And then hit us up on the socials. The Discus Lariat on Twitter, Discus Lariat Collective on Instagram. And then, yeah, I suppose we'll be back here now tomorrow with a Raw review. So yeah, until then, yeah, we'll see you soon anyway.